Good afternoon in Hangzhou. My name is Mario Hernandez. I am Vice President. afternoon in Hangzhou. My name is
I can't see her. Where did she go? Can we have water? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Molweni. Molweni. Ah, that's always a silence. So, welcome to this afternoon session. I think in the way that GEO does things, we always save the best for last, because all the sessions you've had today, this is the best of all the sessions. I do not know what your objectives are for being here, but we're definitely gonna meet them, all right? So this is the Digital Earth session, which I need to figure out how to make this work. And now it's free. Okay, yes. So this is a Digital Earth session. In the morning, in the plenary session, I told you that I fell in love at some point in my life, and it was with the data cubes and the Digital Earth. But I won't go to my personal story and journey of this, because I do have two colleagues with me that have also gone through a similar journey over the past couple of years, and would love to share with you what this journey has looked like, what it has meant for the regions that we work in, and also what the future of that would look like in the GEO Post 2025. We actually also would welcome your inputs and your thoughts in terms of what more can we do with the Digital Earth programs, where and who can we collaborate with if you are available for those collaborations. So in the Q&A session, we would welcome recommendations, questions, and comments, okay? So I'm gonna get this ball start running. I'm not gonna do an intro in terms of why Digital Earth. I'm gonna let you actually see in the Digital Earth itself in terms of why this is one of the groundbreaking public digital infrastructures currently. So our first panelists today, we've got 4 panelists. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the imaginary one in the seat. If we had the capability and the technology of, as our Chinese colleagues had and showed us at the show last night, we would have been showing Mario right now, sitting there, you know, like those dancers yesterday, right? But yeah, we are quite limited in our capabilities in Digital Earth, actually. So first of all, we're gonna hear about the implementation of Digital Earth Americas. And this is a response to user requirements, because we hear a lot about this. And Josarela Lopez Aguilar is going to take us through that. And so I'm gonna let you come up here. Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mario, virtually, for the invitation to this session and organize this interesting session for me. And I'm Josarela Lopez. I'm from National Institute of Statistics and Geography from Mexico. And I will present the very, this is the, oh, sorry. Where is mine? Maybe next this one is me. Okay. Well, developing, implementing, monitoring, and measuring the success of various actions and intervention in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and addressing national and regional challenge in the Caribbean is contingent on the availability of reliable geospatial and statistical data through functional geospatial data infrastructure. Unfortunately, many countries in the region are unable to provide the resources needed to secure the geospatial data sets and required to achieve these objectives. The government of Mexico, through the Latin American and Caribbean Space Agency established in 2021, has agreed to fund the development of the Geospatial Observation Center at the University of the West Indies in the campus of the August. Well, the starting point of this project was the Earth observation has demonstrated its availability to support local, national, and regional decision-making and the sustainable development goals through a series of Open Data Cube initiatives around the world. So in the Americas, it was decided to embark on a similar path with the support and participation of stakeholders made it possible to bring together more users in the Americas to create an open and operational experiences in the countries in terms of analysis, use and management of data for evidence-based policies, decision and action. In that sense, Digital Earth Americas is an initiative to establish an open and sustainable framework for collaboration and exchange focused on Earth observation data to solve critical problems in the region. Its main objective is to improve and integrate Earth observation solutions and capabilities in the region. And its three key objectives are that I am showing at the screen. One is to measure the societal impact of a changing world where Earth observation will be essential to understand resilience and vulnerability. Two, enable economic growth and commercial opportunities for this. Earth observation can be a source of economic growth and commercial opportunities through the use and open data, free and open tool, and open science. And three, inspire community engagement. That is, provide data, tools, services, training, and diverse set of stakeholders, including governments, statistical and environmental agencies, and education or academic institutions, as well as promoting, sharing the learning among a diverse community of users. Next, in the screen, you can see an application of the Geospatial Data Cube in Mexico with a GMedium that can be used to evaluate the public policy. In this case, we can see the Lake Chapala, the state of Jalisco in Mexico, where you can see the impacts of this public policies, so better weather usage that enable to recover this lake. In this another scene, the Landsat Surface Water Classification Index from Space, ICASE, is an experimental geospatial analysis product that provides information of the presence of surface water in Mexican territory. And you can see the transition from 1940s to 2019 of this lake. That's was two examples of the application of data cube, geospatial data cube in Mexico, where therefore the other countries was very interested to know and asked to share our experience. In that sense, how do you really deliver value to users? Well, a critical component of making this value a reality is helping users throughout the region to able to use the tools, data, and systems that already exist or that could be built under the Digital Earth of America's framework. While data and technology are available from many sources around the world, there are still significant challenges in accessing, preparing, and delivering data. How to achieve this? Well, by visualization the work of national and local initiatives that have made possible the development of geospatial data cubes in the region to respond to both local and national needs. These have reflected the need to develop a regional solution that serves these national and local needs. Thus, Digital Earth Americas focuses on the real needs of the users and is not driven by specific technologies or by this perspective that it works in one place. It must also work in another. This is because the diversity of the region poses a major challenge in terms of the types of information that different users need, and well as how it is delivered. In addition, digital, this kind of Earth observation solutions has been shown to work in Australia, as you well know, Africa, and Pacific Islands. They leverage regional scale products for efficiency of analysis and technical strategic guidance from experience, advisory groups, and offer capacity building that can serve a large number of users. They have also demonstrated that through a regional framework, it is possible to address transboundary issues and promote exchange among a broad set of users with a focus on open science. As you will know in the screen, the key is collaboration. This project is, the main partners of this project in the region are CSIRO, Carigeo, the group of Geo. Hi, Steven. With INEGI, UNGGIM Americas, for example, is a very good example of collaboration with different initiatives of the region. CEOs, ECLAC, and they are the main. Thus, in October of 2022, the Digital Earth Americas workshop was held in Mexico City to determine the steps to follow in terms of regional collaboration towards the use of Earth observation for decision making. And this event consisted on 4 working sessions, which addressed the different topics related to the initiatives, and these were strategic, as you can see on the screen, were the strategy activities toward regional collaboration, the use of the data cube from INEGI, the ocean information, and opportunities in the Caribbean. And the objectives and main activities of the project were established by a memorandum of understanding signed on July 2022. And the main objective of the project is to establish the legal framework based on which the parties shall execute various cooperation activities that shall contribute to the promotion of access, preparation, management, and use of geospatial data with the aim of promoting capacity building, which could benefit all users in Latin American and the Caribbean region through application in the specific topics such as vegetation phenology, land use and change, disaster risk reduction, monitoring and water bodies, urban growth, and other mutual interests that the parties may determine. And the major activities of the project are in the phase 1, the strengthening of the special infrastructure, the phase 2 was a technical training program, and the phase 3, the diffusion. Now, what have been the achievements so far? Acquisition of servers for installation of the university campus in Trinidad and Tobago, identification of the people who will manage the computer equipment, definition of the capacity building program, and the Geospatial Observation Center at this University of West Indies, Trinidad and Tobago, was equipped with the appropriate hardware and software that were installed in this campus. The staff received training from INEGI and experts from other data centers to manage and maintain the system and use of this technology to generate special data sets. In addition, the focus was on training geographic information system specialists from the Caribbean and Latin American region to use the online services to produce data for applications to mitigate floods, manage mangroves, monitor algae movement, sargassum, and map forest cover and land use changes in the countries of the region. And according with the agreement, the university will coordinate efforts to ensure the appropriate use by GIS from government agencies and educational institutions throughout the Caribbean. And finally, 8 courses were given during 2023 and 2024 for the Caribbean and Central American countries. The main topics were about Open Data Cube, infrastructure uses sharing and sharing experiences, uses of the remote sensing and machine learning, satellite imagery, deep learning, specific topics like sargassum monitoring, and a session dedicated for this special information. More than 160 participants from 32 countries of America were participating, and here are the 3 main messages that I want to share with you. Is all data sets and products will be provided to member states at no cost. Training will be available to technical personnel from each member state at no cost also, and identify the main needs of each country in order to be able to request advice and support on what products or services each member state needs. And that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Gisela. I've got some questions. Okay. But I think I'm going to hold my questions for after all the presentations if the panel allow me. So for the next presentation, we've now gone to the Americas. So we now go to the continent of, it's meant to be the continent of Africa, not the blue Pacific continent. We're still going to get to that. Maybe I can rewind. Oh, no, there we go. You can give them a quiz to see how much they remembered of what they've seen there, Joseph, right? Okay, so thank you so much, Gisela. It was good to actually see the activities that have been undertaken in the Americas and the work that still needs to be done in the collaborations and the partnerships that make it happen. So we go to the continent of Africa and look at the unlocking the promise of tomorrow from the patterns of the past. And for that, I'll give over to Joseph, who is the User Engagement Manager at Digital Earth Africa. Joseph.
Thank you, moderator. I think my presentation was there. Everyone has seen it. I can go and take a seat. But let's discuss it a little bit. I'm just to Shimile, as she said. By the way, when I joined the Africa, she was overseeing the program, and I'm grateful for that. So we'll be talking about the mission. We think partnership is very important in the content and what we do. We talk about services and the tools and the approaches and a summary of use cases and the capacity building, and of course, channels for connection. So when the Africa started, we were sure that there are a lot of data sources. Some of them were commercial, others were fully accessible. And some people were saying, especially the developing countries, we don't have enough disparate data infrastructure. And others were saying, we need an application very easy to manipulate that could help us to consume EU data sets. And who should be at the control center, who should play the intermediate role toward the data accessibility and use. And that's where the Africa thought we can set up an open data cube approach to help people to consume the data sets at their own regions, even small area of interest. And all this is about to sort out, to solve all problems related to applications, biodiversity conservation, environment, agriculture, urbanization, and so on. So from that idea, I think that's where Digital Earth programs, initiatives were born. And we think we are contributing. And for Digital Earth Africa, which is not that old, almost 5 years old, we try to process fully available state images, especially the Landsat and Sentinel, because they are free. Landsat has a large temporal resolution, a lot of time series, while Sentinel also has a better resolution, but still free available. And we host everything on Akalu Space for users to access decision analysis ready data sets. And we start by monitoring agriculture and food security, water resources, land degradation, some urban trends, the coastlines, and more others that could be added depending upon the users' needs. So, partnership is very important. That's where you see the Africa is based in South Africa, hosted by RIS currently, and you are not able to reach out to each of the countries. That we have several regional institutions we call implementing partners, and that's why I've been collaborating with OSS, Observatoire du Sahara du Sahel, in Tunisia, Afrigist in Nigeria, Agreement in Niger, CSE in Senegal, RCMRD in Kenya, Sunnyside in South Africa, which was our past host. And for these people, we believe that we understand the needs of users, specific for each regions, but also the co-development of products and validation becomes much easier because those existing institutions have roots and experience in those regions. And of course, we thank the government of Australia that has been behind our success via financial and technical support. And of course, I mentioned a lot of partners down there because we believe that without their support, the program won't be successful. It's a learning process. We improve day and night. So the approach is, as I said, it's an open data cube approach where we receive data from providers, we try to process them, and either we host raw data on Akalu Space, but also there are some products and services that could be part to monitor several phenomena that I will discuss after, trying to align all what we do with SDGs. And then we believe that we are bridging the gap between data providers and users. Believe me, some people think that EO is a miracle, is magic. But if they are taught how to manipulate easily or user-friendly platforms, they can consume this information, or the level of consumption should differ. And also, this could help support some governments, NGOs, and even the private sector. I give you an example of the war, people kicking balls with each other on the reporting of SDG indicators, because some of them are too hard to report using fields in situ data. We need to supplement them with the EO. And of course, spatial data infrastructure. Some people like to consume the spatial information, spatial data, but the infrastructure in terms of hardware is an issue. Even the storage, the computing capacity, and so on is an issue. And I think with the cloud space, people could access a larger computation instance to process their data set, but also some pre-developed algorithms that will help people to run the analysis. And of course, imagine if digital health data, not only Africa, even Australia, or even America, even Asia and the Pacific, were hosted on one's computer or a national server. No one would access. But if you host a continent-wide data set, everyone could access a pollution, and then instead of duplicating effort, you can benefit from one infrastructure and one data set at the same time. So I try to mention some few of our products. Having the GeoMat, cloud-free mosaic that covers the whole continent, derived either from Sentinel or Landsat image, is a good thing, because people could run immediately the analysis depending upon their application. Someone working in urban monitoring could run the urbanization index, extract some urbanization trends. Someone working on the food security could run and understand the crop health and so on. Those products covering the whole continent, we have them on our cloud space. And also the long-term water monitoring. We derived the water index from Landsat images to inform the long-term dynamics of water across the continent. And this product could inform some plans related to water management across the continent. Of course, you can also use the recent images to understand the seasonality, to inform water management, but also how to manage disaster related to water. The crop mask that will show us the continental cropped areas and so on, and other many products. I should also mention that we have other products, the coastline to monitor the coastal erosion, and the wetland inside tool to monitor wetland and aquatic lands, and also the water bodies that could help us to monitor the water extent, and also being able to export some polygons. And we believe that if interfaces we are using, platforms are very free, user-friendly, or we allow people to consume that information. Maybe someone would need a map, a kind of web map, very user-friendly for small explorations, understand the trend of phenomenon. So that platform is there. Someone would like to have to do some deep analysis on to have an understanding of the trends or changes, export maps, export statistics in terms of graphs and tables. And the sandbox is there. And also, some people are sticking on the classical softwares. Say, how can I download the data set, integrate them on my computer using my ArcGIS or QGIS? Also, the platform is there. And also, we believe that from simple data exploration, machine learning and cloud computing, and also if we guarantee also interoperability, and this is good it becomes more inclusive, as experts and experts could still benefit from those platforms. So some use cases, as I was saying, you would see some use cases on water monitoring. The bottom left, that's Lake Okavango in Botswana. In the middle, that was Lake Bolingo in Kenya, where water was invading the island, and they have to rehome the giraffes because they were under danger. We were able to monitor the flooding in that area. We can plot some nice graphs showing the trend of luminescence, informing on the vegetation health, and also we inspired the trend in mangrove vegetation in Zanzibar, and now the restoration project has started with the State University of Zanzibar, thanks to Prof. Khalija and the team. With the CSC, we were able to develop and validate, the CSC and the RSMR, they were able to develop and validate the coastal monitoring tools, which could understand the rangeland, the urban trend in a given region, and those were some of the few applications. Of course, we know that capacity building is very key. That's why we have online courses, being generic or being specific, like application to water system management and flood risks, land degradation, coastal erosion, water bodies, and so on. And those are free available online, but we have also been giving face-to-face trainings and hackathon across the whole continent. And we believe that we don't need to have good data, good platform to transfer capacities across the continent. And anyone is welcome to log in and enjoy those courses. Of course, some way to communicate. Every Wednesday, we try to have an session discussing platform products that are available and so on. Feel free to connect when you are available. And if you are not connected on that day, we have our tutorials available via our platform, specifically our YouTube channel. And on this, I say thank you.
Thank you very much. So that was the continent of Africa. Thank you, Joseph. You will actually make a determination by the end when we finished with these three presentations, but I will leave that determination to you. So I'm going to hand over to myself now and take you to the continent of the Blue Pacific. So implementing Digital Earth Pacific from a concept and to an operational digital infrastructure. I'm Andi Swamlisa, and I'm the program manager for Digital Earth Pacific with the Pacific community. So we look at why Digital Earth Pacific is required in the Pacific, the journey that we've taken from concept to where we are, a little bit on our user needs process and the business case and roadmap, just to give a sense of how we go from foundational phases to the operations, and also some thoughts around partnerships. That means I can't spell, I wrote implementation instead of partnerships, but anyway. The Pacific has what I call a triple challenge, and part of this is because these challenges are interlinked. There's a limit on resource availability, whether we're talking economical or whether we're talking human resources. Here is an area where large populations, where you're talking about huge populations, and this is not the case. Here we've got limited populations. And that leads to the other limitations in terms of the resources that are available. This does not take into account, of course, our huge and wealth oceans. The second one is the geographical isolation. It is very remote. It is very costly to move from one country to another. It's costly to move from one island to another island. There are people that can only go home from New Zealand or Australia only once a year because that's the only one time when a boat is available to actually take them home. So there's a reality in terms of even when we're talking about capacity development programs that just do not look the same way in the Pacific region that they would look anywhere else in the continent because of these challenges. But the geographical challenge also means that the market accessibility is also limited. So when we're talking about economic growth and market participation, you are restricted because you just have no access. The last one, which tends to resonate with most of us because this data that we have, we applied in our environment, understanding our environment better, is the disproportionate risks that the Pacific experiences from climate change and environmental degradation. For an area that is actually producing so little of what causes climate change issues, in terms of the impact, we are hugely impacted compared anywhere else. You might have heard some of the presentations this morning and also on the hazards one, just the challenge that some of the atolls are under, that within the next 50 years, some of the most habitable islands will no longer be habitable. And there are people living there today. They have their families, they have their heritage and their ancestral graves there and their culture. And the question is, if your whole island goes underwater, where do you go? And this happens within their lifetime, because if you're youth today, that's within your lifetime. So these are the challenges that the Pacific community is faced with. And in 2019, the Geoministerial was held in Canberra. It so happens that our Director General in the Pacific community today was the Geo-Principal of Australia, because he was with Geosciences Australia, then championing Digital Earth Australia and Digital Earth Africa, because we were just putting Digital Earth Africa together at the time. There was a Talanoa that was held by the Pacific countries and partners, and that Talanoa came out with a statement, and the Pacific countries made it very clear that they do want to have access and capacity to apply Earth observations data for their national development and sustainable development. And so they were asking the geo community to respond to this need. And this led to the establishment of Digital Earth Pacific about 2 years later. We also know that there is value beyond just the fact that we can use these images for understanding the environment. But there's an economic value that comes with the use of Earth observations. The director mentioned yesterday that the World Economic Forum foresees the 700 billion contribution that Earth observation can make through various factors. But I also want to point out that the Asia-Pacific region is currently posed to capture the largest share of the Earth observations value in this period, reaching a potential value of 315 billion. And part of the reason that this is so is because there's a low adoption rate right now. Right. So the potential for it to contribute meaningfully in the various sectors, whether you're talking agriculture, government services, insurance, I mean, like even the type of insurances that the Pacific requires are so different than this. I was at the Pacific Leaders meeting about a month ago, and one of the insurance companies has come up with a model where now they no longer insure the value of your holdings, they're actually insuring the fact that they're insuring you against an event, the intensity of the event. So if the cyclone happens, how far are you to the cyclone, and therefore how far are you impacted? By the fact that you were impacted by the cyclone, you get a payout. And of course, what's most important there is the Earth observations information that actually tracks the impact of the cyclone. We would love for the Pacific countries to actually realize this economic value. The studies from Digital Earth Africa, the study that was also done by World Economic Forum, is also a useful motivator on why Earth observations is important. And I do support the director saying GEO needs to actually do these studies even more. So where have we been? So that was 2019 when the countries made this statement to the geo community to say, we need to use this data and we need access to it. 2 years later, we actually launched the platform, 2021. We'd be mindful that 2019, we also got hit by COVID in 2019 to 2020, so there was a delay. But 2021, we started with the first phase for Digital Earth Pacific, and there's been a number of key critical moments within this journey. Some of them include deciding on which infrastructure. We started by going to the Microsoft computing platform, and part of the reason was because even within the Pacific community team, we did not have expertise for Open Data Cube. So we needed to build those expertise first before we can actually say we'll go to the Open Data Cube technology. We are now at the stage where we are hosted on AWS. We've got Open Data Cube technology as an infrastructure that we are running on. So that was one of the conceptual and founding stages that we had to get into. Governance is also an important aspect, so we needed to actually make sure, yes, the countries have asked for this, but how do we do it in a manner that actually the countries walk through with us as we actually implement this? User engagements were also key, and also funding. So these are some of the things that you'll find in red. We needed to fundraise in order to make sure that we can actually go through this journey. We hear this quite a lot. The user needs, the user is important, and actually, there's no point in doing this if you're not doing it with the users. So the initial needs assessment was done with four countries. Would have loved to visit more countries, but in each of these country workshops, you make sure that you've got diversification in terms of the ministries and the departments and the government agencies that participate, including civil society. Based on these, we then prioritize. So all the products that sort of like come up in all the country engagements, they get to the top, and those ones that are needed by one or so countries, they get what we call tier 2. But here's another realization as we move from concept to operationalization, is to find that user needs is an ongoing process. The once-off study that we did in the report allowed us to build a roadmap based on what the needs were during that time, and so that we can have a business case in place, so that we can start attracting funding. But the more you engage with users, the more that list grows. And also, the minute you give them the first product, which we've already experiencing now, then the light bulbs go out. This thing can actually work. This thing can actually give me results. Now that you've shown me you can give me 20 years of coastline change and the rate of change, can you now give me this and this and this and this and this? So it's an ongoing process, the user needs assessment. But we've also found out that in us operationalizing, there's another way of actually gathering needs. And that is this Pacific community, maybe in this instance, is uniquely set up compared to Digital Earth Africa, for example. The Pacific community convenes governments already, because we're an institution set up to provide science and technical support to the governments. There are already needs captured by our Land and Resources Division, by our Fisheries Division, by our Oceans Division. So our governments have already given priorities in all of these thematic areas. So we have another process now that we're needing to undertake that actually goes and does that analysis and say, so how do we support oceans? How do we support the fisheries team to meet the mandates that the countries have already given them? Whilst we also continue to get other requirements as the countries are developing their services. Okay, that slide should not be there. We also developed the business case. So we talk about funding and the sustainability of funding at plenary this morning. This has been one of the documents that we've found to be very useful for us as a program, because you need something at hand every time you come even to platforms like this that outlines what your mission and your vision is, but at the same time that actually gives out an outline in terms of where you're wanting to go and how you're going to go there. Our business case clearly puts it that this is demand driven, so we're not doing it because we love the technology, which we do love the technology, but that's not the only reason we're doing it. And also we've come up with 10 principles that I will not go bother to go through with you right now. We've also put in place a roadmap that takes us from the foundation to phase one was the foundation, and the foundation was really about gathering these needs, understanding what the level of capability and capacity the countries have, so including what technical capability SPC itself has as an institution that will be doing this implementation, and also looking for that seed funding and building a prototype infrastructure. Because for people who haven't worked with Earth observation and you say that to them, you're gonna give them an Earth observations product, what do you think they think? They don't know what to think. You know, they have no idea what you mean. So the prototype infrastructure was very important for us, for people to actually see not data from Digital Earth Australia or the outputs from Digital Earth Africa, but outputs of their own island in terms of what this data and information means. So this has been our phase one, and we are now in the last year of phase one, and we've already started transitioning to phase two. And phase two is about increasing capacity. The capacity here does not only mean our own technical and infrastructure capacity, but it also means the capacity of countries to uptake and use the platform, the existing products. But remember, with Digital Earth, there's an analytical hub that comes with it. So we can develop the regional products, but the power of it really also lies on people being able to come into the platform and building their own products as when they need, because the data is fully available. The last phase we're looking at is establishing a data ecosystem. This is when we're talking about the outcomes or the outputs from Digital Earth Pacific are not only those that are developed by the core team, but it's when we have the community's products and services come together. When people can actually come to us and say, look how cool my product is that I've done for my government, and we had nothing to do with it except that we provided the basic tools for them to do it. I mentioned the governance. The governance has been a critical part for us, because this is where accountability sits, this is where transparency sits, because you can imagine when you're serving 22 countries and territories, there is an element that there are general regional problems, but ultimately all countries have their own national development plans and their own national priorities. You want to have a body that actually agrees and aligns with you that that is where we're gonna start. We understand we all want this, but we will start there. And they're the ones who must advocate amongst themselves in terms of why that prioritization is like that. But also, most importantly, when we talk about integration into policy, we cannot take these products directly to policy. We need the countries themselves to actually integrate it into policy. And our steering committee members are very useful for that. But we also have international partners in there. CEOS, for example, the Committee on Earth Observation, is critical because we're dependent on the space agencies for the data, and especially the ARD aspect of the data and some of the training. GEO is also a member, which brings that global cooperation for us. Some of the regional products that you might have heard me talk about in some of the other talks, 22 years of coastline change. Part of what that product also has is the rate of change. So you can tell every 30 meters along the coastline how much are you experiencing erosion, or are we seeing accretion in that part of the world. 7 years of the mangroves, and the reason why the mangroves is only 7 years is because we've used Sentinel rather than using Landsat, and then 10 years of water observations from space, and that's a Landsat product. That Landsat product is only 10 years instead of being 20 years compared to the coastlines, and that's also because there is lots of clouds over land at time. And for that product, we really need a lot of temporal data, which is not quite the same for the coastline data. So these technical issues that we still have with the environment as the observations community still impact us. Capacity development is very important. I'm gonna stop with saying the National Skills Transfer Workshops is how we engage countries on a day-to-day to build that capacity. Okay, thank you. shush, Andisa, shush. So I am thankful for the timekeeper because I can just go on. Now, we have Mario, yes, our invisible friend. Our invisible friend, we've put him last because the concept of digital earth from Mario's side
Good afternoon
is
in Hangzhou. My name is Mario
slightly
Hernandez.
different from mine. Okay, so I don't want to talk over him, so now I'm gonna stop talking. We'll give it to Mario.
Good afternoon in Hangzhou. My name is Mario Hernandez. I am Vice President of the International Society for Digital Earth. And unfortunately, I cannot be with you today. I will explain you why. A very good Chinese friend told me that in China there is a say that states that in heaven there is paradise and in China there is Hangzhou. So you are in paradise up there. Unfortunately, I have a knee operation and the doctor recommended me not to go to paradise. So my apologies for that. In any case, I hope that this session has been satisfactory and I hope that we're going to close it as nice as it has started. Digital Earth Africa, Americas and Pacific. Allow me to present you what is the origin of the concept of Digital Earth, what is the International Society for Digital Earth, and how do we see Digital Earth today and its potential evolution for tomorrow. The concept of Digital Earth starts with Al Gore, Vice President of the United States, who in 1998 made a speech, and it's the first time he mentions Digital Earth. In such a speech, in order to better illustrate the concept, he presents the idea of a young girl that needs to go to a museum, and there with a device starts seeing the Earth as it appears from space, and later on she can use different data in different layers, multi-resolution, and sees more and more detail. Once she found an area of interest, she takes what Al Gore calls a magic carpet and then does a virtual tour in a 3D visualization of the area. It's quite an amazing concept, extremely visionary, was mentioned in a speech that was called Understanding Our Planet in the 21st Century, and later on, 4 months later, he published a book, Earth in the Balance, where he gives much more details about the concept of digital Earth. It's a virtual reality with a device installed in museums that improves access to public domain data and should open the market to different companies in order to create the Digital Earth platform. For example, Google Earth was launched in 2005. It contains many of the ideas that Al Gore has in his vision, but he is extremely visionary, anticipating the development for almost 20 years. And today we have some things that still are in the vision of Al Gore. But it's important to mention that in 1998, the technologies to implement Digital Earth were very poor as compared to today. Progress has been done tremendously, and some of the technology is solving many of the issues that were a big challenge in the vision of Al Gore. If we compare today with Al Gore's vision, to the left we have what he mentioned as being part of the topics to be included in Digital Earth, and to the right I'm saying which platforms have solved that. Virtual gloves have solved a lot, crowdsourcing and citizen change, excellent platforms developed by, for example, by NASA, and the academy has been done some research and has been contributing a lot, but mainly industry has also contributed a lot with some commercial platforms. In parallel to that concept, in 2004, 20 years ago, and that's why we're celebrating the 20th anniversary, the Chinese Academy of Sciences launched the International Society for Digital Earth. is an idea of bringing together the people to discuss the concept of digital earth, promoting academic exchange, that we implement joint projects, and to explore the digital earth platform as a technology that should play an essential role to assist humanity in sustainable development. For your information, ISD joined the group of Earth observation in November 2011. We are a participating organization, and that's why we are very glad supporting GEO by organizing this session of Digital Earth, which we're very glad to all the support that the GEO Secretariat has provided. Among the ISD activities, we have international symposium each 2 years. Here to the right, you have the symposium that was held in Florence, Italy. In between the symposiums, we have the International Summit, which is also held every 2 years. We have workshops, we have web seminars, we have recently launched a young forum in order to give place to the young generation to participate in the development of the digital earth concept. And China has launched the digital earth for selected countries along the Silk Road. So similar to the presentations we have heard today, China has for the countries of the Silk Road. Important for this meeting is that the 10th Summit of Digital Earth will be hosted in Rwanda by our friend Joseph, who presented Digital Earth Africa. And so I invite you to join us in Rwanda, not only to see the evolution of Digital Earth, but also to enjoy the magnificent mountain gorillas that Rwanda hosts. We do have two very important journals that are scientific journals, extremely well rated, the International Journal for Digital Earth and the International Journal on Big Earth Data. I invite you to publish your work in these journals or to consult the journals. They are open access. Society is having a digital revolution, and so the Digital Earth platform needs to adapt to that digital revolution. It needs to be part of that digital revolution. We need to consider cultural and organization aspects, scientific and modeling aspects, and engineering aspects. I'm not going to go through the whole slide because you will be bored. You can see it later on when we distribute the slides. If we see the whole implementation up to date of Digital Earth, basically you can see that in the middle of this arrow we have the platforms that have been presented today. In addition, there is Australia, there is China, there is the DIAS, Europe, and there are many more that are emerging. So all this has to start working together in order to make the concept of Digital Earth a reality. And that's one of my main messages today, that we discuss how can we work together in order to make Digital Earth platforms all together. The Digital Earth concept is an evolving concept depending on the technology that is evolving, but has to be a digital representation of the Earth. We see it not as a single platform, but basically as multiple platforms interconnected. It's a framework that should help to develop and share understanding of the relationships between society and the environment. It has to be the ultimate vision for a digital twin and a link between the reality and the virtual worlds. All of this, you can see it in some scientific papers that have been published in our Journal of Digital Earth. Here are the reference. I'm not going to lose time with that. You will have it as a reference in my presentation. We are noticing now emerging areas, and one is the ethics, privacy, and security. So we cannot develop Digital Earth without taking serious consideration on all the aspects of ethics, private, and security. Another emerging area is that we humans were becoming sensors, creating enormous amount of data. This is through citizen science, social media, our smartphones, And so we need to collect that information, and this is very much linked with the aspects of ethics and privacy. Another interesting emerging area is gaming. So we need to make a link with the gaming industry because people are gaming and we need to convince them also to play with the digital earth in order to better understand sustainable development. An outstanding example is that the United Nations Environment Programme has developed a game that is called Playing for the Planet, and it's very interesting to see how children in the younger generation are now being attracted to see what is sustainable development and what it means, the sustainable development goals of the United Nations. The digital earth, as I said already, is a concept that is evolving, but we consider that the main underlying principles must be preserved. That is ecosystem nature and openness, a collaborative approach, knowledge generation, that Geo calls earth intelligence generation, has to be a powerful collaboration, technologically neutral, has to take into consideration the user requirements and become usability, and has to become a public good for the sustainable development. Now, since Digital Earth is evolving, in the paper that we published, Digital Earth Today and Tomorrow, we give a definition, but we know that this definition is going to change with time, as a common platform to support national and international cooperation for global sustainable development and disaster resilience, as well as an important mechanism to enable society and economic growth, welfare, and environmental stewardship. Digital Earth should be seen by every child as the gateway to learning and exploring our world. To conclude, in this Geo Symposium, the different Digital Earth presentations describe very interesting initiatives about the concept of Digital Earth. Since each one has its own definition of Digital Earth, and this is perfectly understandable, we need to get together to exchange lessons learned, successes, and failure. And that is my main message. Let us create a working group of Digital Earth where we can better assist Geo with the Geo Post 2025 strategy through the development of a Digital Earth platform. If you would like to see information about the society, I'm giving here the website. And if you want to see the scientific paper about Digital Earth Today and Tomorrow, here you have also the website. It's an open paper. You can access as much as you want. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you're going to have a successful roundtable. Thank you.
Well, thank you to Mario in absentia. Well done, Mario. Well done. So you've heard from us. So before I pose some questions to the panel, I think maybe we can take a break and actually hear from you in terms of questions, thoughts, and I've got colleagues that got roving microphones that can, depending on hands. There's one here. Yes, please.
Hello, I'm Joan Mazó. I'm a member of the Council of the International Society of Digital Ethics, by the way. I have been hearing at those interesting presentations. Thank you very much. And as the last presentation said, everybody has its own bias on what the digital is. I'm also here representing the in situ subgroup in Geo. So a lot has been said about the Open Data Cube and the satellite data and so on. And we know that there are some people that say, well, data cubes also can be used for storing and managing in situ data and so on. I haven't seen much examples of that, except people saying that that's possible, but I have never seen a presentation demonstrating that, except, for instance, efforts in some European projects that I know that they are trying to create maps of biodiversity occurrence based on in situ data that they are then transposed into the data cubes. Sorry for the long introductions. I'm trying to defend the view or the position of in situ data in the digital earth. So talking about official measurements, plus the Internet of Things, plus the citizen science, as was shortly presented. That's one comment. The other comment, and this is kind of a crazy idea, I'm trying to take the message from the last presentation about having a presence, a more physical presence, or more explicit presence in the work program that he has mentioned. No, I have seen some documentation on how the work program will look like, the new one. I want to mention that there is a thing that is called a convener group. That is not the typical staircase where you start with a pilot and of a particular thematic application, and then you grow into making that stable until it becomes a flagship, but something more transversal that allows you to discuss things in a more generic way without this aim of, dealing with a particular topic or something like that, but exploring things, no? And I will be particularly in favor of that. I actually, myself, I'm involved in something that in Europe we call data spaces, that it's yet another manifestation of the digital earth. It's an effort to actually organize data in a way that there is data sovereignty, there is trust, and there is equal balance of open data and business around the data and services and so on. So maybe this is something that could be an outcome of this meeting, to try and figure out how we could consolidate that presence, if it has to be a convener or whatever other kind of, this is just a detail, but it could be good to actually agree in the presence, people here, if that's a good idea, and then we will probably go into the details and formulate how to articulate that. So,
We'll
sorry
do
for
it.
the long comment.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be so long, but.
We'll do it. I'm gonna take 3. You comfortable with us taking 3? Okay. Yes, and then the gentleman over here.
I just want to say I met Al Gore at Davos in 2019, and I told him all about Digital Earth Africa. So he got really excited about that. So just so we are talking to the big guns as well, all about geo. I also want to add there's Digital Earth Partnership at the World Bank, which hasn't been mentioned by anyone. And they're working through GFDRR on risk and resilience, hazards, vulnerability, exposure. So there's also that Digital Earth activity.
Thank you. We'll get to that. Then the second last one.
Yes, thank you very much for your presentation. I think even the Digital Earth for Africa and America and Digital Earth Ocean, I think is a good project for the future. So maybe I have some question. For example, for the Digital Earth Africa, so most of the application you have shown us, I think we can use the GEE, can do some kind of things. So what's the difference of the Digital Earth Africa with the Google Earth Engine? So you see with the GEE, there are more and more publication, more and more application. So my question is it necessary for in the geo framework, we have to develop a Digital Earth for Africa, for America, and for European, and for Asia, Oceania? So it is just consider about the regional geo. Is necessary for us to construct the regional digital earth. So this is my first question. And the second question is, as you mentioned, for the Digital Earth Africa, so all of service is free. So when the application will become more and more, the budget will become higher and higher. For example, for the GE, there's a huge company that can support the financial support for all of the platform operational running. But for in the framework of GE, how can we find the enough financial support to keep the platform operationally running? So this is the second question. And maybe for the second question about the Digital Earth America. So maybe to my thinking, in America, South America and North America, the United States have so powerful platform, they can provide a lot of resources. So, and you mentioned we was constructed Digital Earth in Mexico, right? So I think it is good. I understand it is useful. But how to merge the contribution of the United States to this platform in Mexico? So maybe this is 3 questions for my concerns. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So just hold your thoughts. Let's cover these through so that we don't miss. I'm going to suggest that Jean-Masson, we take your one last, because I think that's a conversation that leads us to that. So maybe we take his questions, because we're going to be thanking Stephen rather than just saying anything else to Stephen. So do you want to start, Joseph, with Digital Earth Africa versus Google Engine? And I think this is something we can all respond to, actually. And because there was a follow-up question, do we set up all these regional digital earth when there's Google Earth Engine there? Yeah.
Wow, it's a matter of comparing 2 institutions, having a common goal, but going through different pathways. And for me, when I see having 2 people dealing with the observation data sets, but using different ways, they are using the wealth engine, we are using the sandbox data technology, and I don't see anything if there are duplicates. It's a kind of a synergy, because we rely on the same data providers, if I can see. We give users various ways of dealing with data sets, but most importantly, with the DAfrica or Digital Earth initiatives, we have a regular capacity development and support, which is very key, and also, maybe prove me wrong, because I'm not too good at the wealth engine, we can provide a larger computing instance whenever needed. For example, when a government or a large institutions would like to do a large work across a large area, we can expand that space and technical support free of charge. So I think that's a very good thing. And we also always thank Google for putting in place the Wealth Engine too, because it's a kind of a synergy, partnership, collaboration, as it has been mentioned since the beginning of the workshop. Secondly, I agree with you, we are still relying upon donations from especially the Australian government and other donors, like the Hammersley Charitable Fund. And the issue that as you are feeding the platform with a huge amount of data sets, maybe the cost will climb high, and we don't sell as other companies, not only Google Earth, even others sell their product. And you're asking what is maybe the financial model to avoid the losses or the failure in the future. And the idea is that during this phase, we are approaching governments. We believe that if governments are convinced that what we provide related to data availability and capacity development is feeding the initiatives, they'll be able to own the platform and they'll start sponsoring the platform. And this is the trend. We think after 2026, we start having some commitment, like some of the government have offered, regional institutions offered the platform, support to the platform. For example, offices, organizing some hackathon and facilities, space agencies, like Ground Space Agency, China Space Agency, even SANISA, and she was the boss. They have been very supportive, providing some any kind contribution with some promises to provide some financial support in the future. And I think if we go that way, funds will be decreasing and also government contribution increasing, and in the future we'll be able to succeed. Otherwise, this is the only way we can go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your question. It's very opportune to say that, of course, we work together with all the countries at the region. For example, the United States also is a member of the AmeriGeo, for example, as a part of the UNGGIM. And as I mentioned at the presentation, we are working together with different partners from different initiatives, not only as a countries, as a part of a big organisms, national, international organizations, and in the United States provide work with us. Mexico is a promoter, or is pushing this initiative, but it's not we don't work alone. Now we work together among different initiatives, organizations, and the United States provide infrastructure, for example, through provide imagery, satellite imagery, for example, the Landsat images, no? And that is we use this infrastructure to the exercises, promoting the utilization, and also to provide capacity building. And that's a very important partner also in the region, and that's it. Thank you.
Maybe I would like to add on Google Earth Engine versus the digital Earth programs that we have. I think also the audiences are slightly different. As researchers, you can go into Google Earth Engine, run your program, and then get out. But here we're talking about something that countries and even businesses can build their models on and depend on, and there is products and services that come out of the digital. So it's not just the infrastructure, it's not just, okay, we've got satellite data and these technical tools, but there's also the services that come out of the programs that Google Earth Engine doesn't provide. The capacity development is another example. Google doesn't run capacity development and go to places where people don't even know what a satellite image looks like and get them to a point where they can actually appreciate the value that could come out. And on the financial sustainment aspect, there's also the other question in terms of, as a government, how much can you actually really depend on a service that's provided by a private company? Because their decision to enter into that business had nothing to do with your needs. It was their own business need. So when they decide to exit that market, what are you left with? So these are the balancing things that we're always having to be thinking about. I'll also give an example. We were using the Microsoft Planetary Computing, but we actually had to move. Part of our assessment was that the technical support required was actually not fit for the purpose that we have, because their priorities as the company were elsewhere and their resources were going elsewhere. So these are the things that we're having to consider. Not to say we don't have our own challenges, even with the funding. I'm going to hold that question, and I'm going to thank Stephen for making sure that Algo actually knows that, like, we're implementing that vision that he actually had. I do want to ask Joseph, and I think this actually builds to that question as well. Africa within the UN system is seen as a priority, right? We need to do this for Africa, we need to support Africa, we need to get to Africa. Even when I was a child, even though I was from South Africa, I was being told kids are dying in Africa. I'm like, I'm also in Africa. For the Earth observation community, is also a main priority, even in GEO. We had AfriGeo and all of this. In the past, and even now, we have all these initiatives, Earth observations initiatives that are happening. And I saw you mention implementing partners, but there are also other initiatives like GMES in Africa, Severe by USAID, EO Africa by ESA, you know. Now we're talking Digital Earth Africa. How are you coordinating with these current activities that are happening? Is there a collaboration? Do you even know of each other's existence?
Oh, I hope the door was open so they could escape today. Okay, actually, it's a kind of a common goal with the different institutions, as I can say, initiatives. I remember we were with the CSC, Centre de Suivi Écologique in Senegal, discussing what you call the cross-fertilization among all these programs. Why? Because each program has targets, source of funds, strength and priorities, if I can say, and how we can build from each other's. I give like a few examples for the development of all our products and services, collaborating with our many partners, the centers, regional centers I mentioned, agreement in Niger, AfriGist in Nigeria, OSS in Tunisia, RCMRD in Kenya, and those are regional centers. The same host of these regional initiatives, like GMES in Africa, Severe, and so on. We read that for the development and validation of a product, we are using in situ data from some of these initiatives. Then it can provide a kind of large-scale continental product, but as a result of that collaboration. And also, we share the community of practice. We are serving the same population. Maybe the feedback one is receiving, we share ideas to see how we can first respond to the needs of local population. It's a way of diversifying the channel to the population. And also, I can say some capacity building, joint capacity building initiatives, trying to synergize with like GMES in Africa and Severe on crop type mapping in Maghreb region. Last time we had to have a training on KUFO basin management as joint initiatives, and that was for Zambia. And tomorrow we have a co-presentation in Gambia on land degradation and climate change, because we believe what we do, for example, other people has and it's to data and skills, but you have a large platform. We can be able to compute and serve a large area or reach out to more communities. And also overseeing, I can say that most of the initiatives that were born before were there to guide us. Guys, we are working in this area, this is the priority for the continent, then making sure that you develop a product, but it seems better than the existing. And this is how we are sharing energy, that's why we're collaborating, and we keep learning from each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Jacera, I do want to pick up on the question a bit, maybe not direct, but linked to what Ron was asking us. INEGI is now involved in Digital Earth Americas and pushing for Earth observation. But INEGI also has another strong point, and that is on socioeconomic data, the statistics aspects of it, which is very critical with sustainable development. And so Jean Masson was saying to us, oh, but no in-situ data, citizen science. But what about how do you see, in a way, the role and the accessibility and the integration of socioeconomic data in something like Digital Earth Americas?
Thank you for the question. And that's an important point because in Mexico, we have together at the same institutions, the statistics and geography is a great advantage for us. And in this sense, we know our expertise collecting, managing, and providing open access to all that data is essential to success of this Digital Earth Americas. And we're contributing our knowledge about these all areas of statistics to ensure that the platform effectively integrates and makes available the crucial data to supporting the sustainable development. And we know that without this access of this information, it's impossible to fully understand address the complex challenges that are facing in the region. And therefore, we believe that with the development of Digital Earth Americas must prioritize the accessibility of this data for all. No, it's very important, and that's and therefore for that this project started with these two main activities: provide infrastructure to other countries, and contribute with capacity building. Because without these two essential elements, we can't move forward to have an infrastructure at this platform in the region, a regional platform. And in this sense, I want to ask to my colleague from El Salvador, that she is Telma, to tell us their experience with this project, where they are working now, and it could be interesting to all, yes, to hear exactly and share their experience as a country, as a part of this project. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, Telma Chavez. I work for the Ministry of Environment of El Salvador. I am a representative of one of the users of data. And well, I have to say that in the ministry we have so many demands all the time. And one of those cases is the data we need to deliver some impacts after an extreme event has occurred. Also, to monitor the state of natural resources as water. And in this case, in so many others, remote sensing has become a really nice tool to provide solutions to our users. We, as in many governments, we have the issue that there's just a small team giving solutions or giving products to many people. So there comes the idea, why don't we start to deliver a data cube for our users? But our users in El Salvador has some specific, needs. Because when we hear about data cube, there's also this capability of programming capability they have to have. In El Salvador, our users don't have that. So we have to deliver a solution based on the experience all of the countries have had how to take this experience that Mexico had and transform it to be accessible for our users. Because we want to make this tool to embrace and to improve their analysis, and it's this idea of data ready to analyze. We have this small team, we have all these needs, and that was good because we have someone that is requesting for these products, but we didn't know how to start. And there is this special point that we have been hearing the whole time these days, and is that communication. And this link we have been creating with the GeoAmerica, AmeriGeo. And there was a person that was very active in this group, and he told us, Mexico is having this experience, and they will be starting a new train. So we will ask them if there is a possibility for our team to be part of it. And thanks to Mexico, because it was like the last week, and they provide us that access to be part of that training, and we learn from them, and we adapt from that experience to our users. And right now, we are just delivering with some of our users the products we have delivered, and we're asking, and we are receiving some feedbacks, but they are starting to use what we are producing, and we are just making some customized products for them, because we really want to motivate them to use it. But this experience won't be possible if we don't have this link between Mexico and El Salvador, and also the openness of Mexico to let us be part of that trade. That was not planned, and that is part of this good relationship that AmeriGeo has created in our region. That's it.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience, and we are very excited to hear that, because it's a good example that these initiatives, regional initiatives, provide also the opportunity to know and to share what we are doing at the region, and it's very, very, very good example. Thank you, Thelma. And now I want to ask you something.
You want to ask me something?
Yes.
Democracy, I guess.
Yes, it's my turn.
Yes. Ask ahead.
Oh. Always the technology. Okay, thank you. And this one, Oceania is a particular area of the Earth severely threatened by climate change and associated sea level rise. In this particular case, Digital Earth Oceania is not only a concept under development, but an urgent and necessary tool to continuously monitoring the situation. Which is the reaction of the end users, which is the support you get from decision makers, and can you give us some advice on how to use your lesson learned about user engagement in other areas of the world? Thank you.
That last part is difficult. So if I understand, is what's knowing the challenge that faces the Pacific and the agency that we have with climate change impact, how is Digital Earth Pacific being received by the user community? So one of the things that's keeping me awake at night at the moment is just how are we going to be able to meet the demand that's coming? Because we've managed to cause such a high expectations, if you will, because for the first time, the Pacific countries have data for each and every island in the Pacific. let me say this again, there are countries that have over 100 to 200 islands. Normally projects that come into for mapping, they'll map the main island, and that's it. Digital Earth Pacific has shown to the Pacific leaders that it doesn't matter the size of the island. The imagery, Landsat covered it, Sentinel covered it, and therefore in the analysis, they will be part of the product. And so what we're now starting to experience is with the coastline product, the mangrove product, and even the water one, and there's very few countries with inland water, but they're starting to see the power of the products that comes from Earth observations, and now we're starting to getting requests directly from them. We've done the user needs assessment, by the way, that's fine, but now they're starting to say, we want this and this, and we want this and this, and our main challenge is we're not fully operational yet in terms of the number of people we are, which is why we also scaled our infrastructure as well. So I would say it is well received. But we also had the advantage, I guess, through the convening power that SPC has, but also the communications that we package when we're developing even the business case with to have some very prominent champions. The Prime Minister of Tonga is one of our main champions. In two weeks back, the Pacific leaders were meeting, all the prime ministers and the president. He got us invited into the room to display, no, not to talk to the presidents, I wish. But we were the only program in the Pacific that was in the room with a display for the Pacific leaders to actually see what Earth observations can do. So these high level, we talk about, I think I see it even in the comms, because I attended a comms task group yesterday, and in the work program session yesterday, Andy Murdoch talked about finding champions for GEO. We cannot underestimate the power of these champions, because if the Prime Minister was not our champion, there's no way we would have made it into that room at all. And the officials now know that this is important for their Prime Minister, and therefore our engagement with Tonga has turned up, like it's dialed up, right? So I would say that investment in finding the right political champion, and I'll say the right political champion because you need someone who's gonna have the time for you to open the doors. So identify that. I guess that will be one that I think would be good, because the rest I think are all the same, the challenges that we have with engaging users and things. Yeah, political champion is good. There's a question we did not answer on in situ. Yeah? You go, Joseph, because I have no answer for that question.
Me neither. I try to speculate around. But I agree with you, in-situ data is very important, and EO couldn't be successful unless it is validated, EO product, unless they are validated with the in-situ data set. That's why I gave an example, like for the co-development of all our products and services. We collaborate with the regional institutions that had in-situ data for the training and validation of the models. And of course, we still have some challenges. The resolution of the point we used, you can see RCMR discovering the whole eastern and southern of Africa, and you can see some few points per each country. And also that makes a little bit challenge for the final product. And that's why when I'm going to use it at small scale, at maybe at municipality or community or district level, so we also need to adapt it to the local context. And I was reading through the literature that most of regional, continental, or global models are still facing those challenges, but always in this data set will never be replaced, but they be able to improve the quality of what you do with our observation. I totally agree with you. Thank you.
The answer is no. We have not yet ingested in situ data into the data cubes, but we definitely use it for validation. This is a nice homework to have for the technical teams, isn't it? We can take it back to them and like, where's that in situ data? Because I agree with you, we all say you can put any observation into the data cube. So maybe it's time we actually proved that concept. There is a statement you made on your presentation that you highlighted, collaboration today, right? There was a recommendation that Mario made on maybe we need a working group. John supports this. What's our thinking, knowing that we've got Digital Earth Switzerland, we've got Digital Earth Brazil, Australia, and all the rest, and Antica has started as well. There's a call out for proposals that we likely all gonna be working on for the work plan program. What do we think about the idea of putting up a working group on Digital Earth?
Well, it could be a large conversation because we have many elements to put together. But I am convinced that the key elements are partners, no? To have a very good partners, not only with ministries. We have to collaborate with industry, private sector. Academic sector is very, very important to put in order to have the need to have to identify needs and solutions and put together users and producers of that information and collaboration. Collaboration with the key, with not only with international organization, local organization. I think the local, the local governments also has a big role as users, as the main users of this information. And we need to have also a good engagement with the we have to identify how to achieve to engage with political also people, and I don't know, maybe this is one way to achieve this commitment, the global commitment.
I agree with Mario's idea of having that joint umbrella and for Digital Earth Africa. Digital Earth, and because each Digital Earth initiative is supporting a given region, and we are fitting regional priorities, but if we try to meet together, we could understand the global priorities, then start going smaller to regional priorities, and then talk to countries for country-specific priorities. I agree with that idea. Thank you.
With the 2 minutes that's left, I would like to know if there's anyone on the group, in the audience, that belongs to any of the other Digital Earth programs. You do? Okay. Anyone in the other Digital Earth programs? Okay, fantastic. So I'm not going to take comments. I'm just going to ask the question as, do you support the idea of us potentially putting together a proposal under the conveners aspect of the work program for a working group on Digital Earth? I get a nod. I get a nod. I'll find out which Digital Earth you guys are coming from, and I'm going to nod from the Pacific side as well. I'm going to right? So one of our outcomes of this session is that we're going to continue the conversation on Digital Earth as the Digital Earth community, but because partners are important, we might actually invite anyone who's actually interested in the conversations around Digital Earth. And the agenda will be drawn and objectives when we do the proposal. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and your attention and your contributions and your inputs. And hopefully you are going to be our partners going forward in making sure that our countries have access to operational Earth observations product at a regional scale. Thank you so much.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, okay.